Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. So today I figured that I would take things off the ground a little bit. We're gonna go from the regular Boral to a hovercraft Boral or hover car or levitating vehicle. It's not really a hovercraft. I don't know. Futuristic sci-fi, cyberpunk. How many keywords can I get in this video? So this is obviously a clone of the car, but this is the basic stuff that's going on here. This is mostly a styling exercise, but I just kind of want to see what happens when we start to really mess with the advanced settings in the fixture tab and try to make the wheels sort of not this way. Like camber is an especially important thing in this. If I set this to 100, we're sort of close to where I want to be. Let's say 60. Yeah, something like that. So one of the things I was thinking about with this is if the car is sitting directly on the ground, which we can do by lowering the hoist, then it still doesn't really look like it's hovering. So that's not quite what I want. I mean, it just has Honda Civic level fitment here in camber. This is the kind of stuff you may expect to see at SEMA or something, but I kind of need to, I don't know, raise it up somehow. I don't know how this is going to work. Oh, actually, this is pretty good. Yes, hover car taking shape. As I was working with this, I just thought about it for a second and I was like, is this the best possible application for turbofan wheels? Like, I haven't seen anything better than this. Okay, I think that's pretty much as good as I'm gonna get for this. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get the wheels to offset and also work the way I want them to, because I kind of wanted it to float very obviously. The problem with that is that any suspension adjustments basically just raise the body off the wheels, but I want the body and the wheels to move at the same time. I think the probably easiest way to do that would be just to take some tires like this or some like mod wheels, basically something like these, and then use those instead of these wheels just by making these ones well, completely invisible. But I don't know, it just doesn't have the same sort of value that this does. So I'm gonna keep this, but let's do some fun stuff. So with this sort of cyberpunk theme that I'm going for, I want to try and do some little like glowing rings underneath the wheels. The reason I'm explaining that is because I think it's a really cool idea, and if it doesn't work, please steal my idea and do it better. So my idea for that basically is just to take one of these pieces and then slim it up considerably, very, very considerably. That's probably too much. There, just like that, something like that. And then obviously I'm not done with colors or anything on this vehicle, but we can kind of just grab these, move it over to the other side as well, and then have them be like a glowing ring, ideally. So I'm gonna have to move some materials around here. Yes, hologram wheels. Okay, that's the exact one that I was looking for. Hologram painted wheels is perfect for this. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is duplicate that and shrink the diameter of it slightly, if it'll let me. And then there you go. We have full-on hovercraft mode going on here. This is actually going to look really cool when it's done, at least in automation. This stuff might not come out in BeamNG. There we go, now we have a fully floating car. The lift is invisible, that's the only reason why it's up so high. But yeah, no, this is exactly what I was looking for. It kind of looks like it could transform still because there's actually like grip on the tires. But that being said, let's get to the rest of the design. So one of the things I like in like cyberpunk vehicles is that they take sort of the basic look of the car as it currently is, and then generally they'll modify it in some sort of retro futuristic way. Now this car is a 2020 in automation, but it's not really based on that because it's made of a Boral. It's essentially just whatever I want it to be. And in this case, I want to try and do something a little bit different. We're going to go for like a big glowing piece all the way along the front. It's not going to be this color. It's going to look something like this. One of the best ways to do lights in this game is to go to the advanced visibility controls and then turn on the headlights and turn on the taillights and brake lights and whatever else you need, and then make sure the brightness is fairly high so you can actually see it. But now you can see what my vision is basically. This thing glows quite bright. There isn't much more in this world that I like more than gigantic over fenders, so I'm gonna go ahead and do something with these. Definitely not this big, but like, man, over fenders, ooh, they're just too good. I still want the new wheels to show, but something like this is like pretty much perfect. And because we don't have the restriction of having to like cut out a wheel well or anything, although yeah, you can still see the wheel well in there, that's gonna change soon. It still looks good. So you can see the tail lights are lit at the back. Now one of the things I want to do is just kind of debadge this car a little bit. We don't need badges in the future. I'm gonna take these lights, the same ones that I'm currently using, and then I'm just gonna duplicate them. And then they should start to glow at some point. Okay, maybe not. This is what I did for another version of this car where I took the same lights and then I flipped them around, but I'm gonna continue that a little bit further. There we go, okay, they lit up. It looks kind of, oh wow, it looks interesting. It's definitely different than it was, for better or for worse. In this case, for worse, but I will try to make it better. First thing I'm gonna do is duplicate these again. Boom. Oh my goodness, it's bright. That's a little bit of a drastic change from what this car used to be. Wow, that's actually really, really cool. Now what I'm gonna do is there's a little triangular spot there, and you know I gotta try and fill it with something. So what about one of these? And boom, now we have a central rear exhaust, because of course we do, and also a massive rear light bar because yeah, I don't know, I can't get enough of those things. Let me just take this, I'm gonna make this the trim color. Same thing with these. I kind of want to make them seem like they were an afterthought on this car. Going back to the paint job, this is feeling weird because it's like completely out of order from my usual stuff. I'm usually doing the engine at this point, but I want to change up this color a little bit because it just doesn't feel quite right. Oh, that pink is actually kind of neat, actually. It's kind of a rose, almost. I don't hate it. Alternatively, we just go all black because, of course, the car is all black. Every single Cyberpunk car is seemingly all black, so yeah, that's what I'll have to go with, I guess. You could also make the car entirely invisible, which is incredibly cool, but it's not going to translate very well to BeamNG. I'm taking this a step further. I'm actually going to make the car flat black. It's got shine and flake at none and low, so definitely going to be a little bit flat. I hardly ever do this, but I think it's kind of cool, so let's go for it. Door handles in the future, nah, we're getting rid of those. Mirrors, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep those or not. The interior can definitely use a bit of an update. Let me see what else we got in terms of this stuff. What are the sportiest looking seats? Probably those. And then back seats, I think we can probably just get rid of those entirely. So it'll be a two-person car now, I guess. I don't know. Batteries are in the back. Fusion reactors in the back. So I mentioned battery pack because I'm going to do something in this video that I have never done. And that is go to the description and type in !EV, and I'm going to be turning this car into an electric car in BeamNG. So we're not going to mess with the power plant at all. Keep in mind it is a 300 horsepower inline-4 turbo. I don't know what's going to happen to it when it actually gets into BeamNG, but EV it is, boys. Let's see what happens. I want to hear this thing as an electric vehicle. So the way I learned how to do this was I just watched Twin Turbos. He did a tutorial on it. Super easy to do. You can mess with gearing and stuff and it'll change in BeamNG, but obviously the car is an EV, so it only has one gear. It's kind of simulating a, well, almost a CVT level type stuff. But I'm very curious to see how this car moves in BeamNG, so let's make a few small changes and then export and see what it does. So one thing I did do was delete the steering wheel because in the future, there are no steering wheels. You control the car with your mind. So yeah, the way that this car is geared is probably not going to make a lot of sense when it actually gets to the EV stuff in BeamNG. I'm very, very curious. Like I said, the only thing that's really changed over the original Boral is that the tires are obviously different and they're wider, just because I thought it looked better. So hopefully we'll see which one's faster. Why don't we compare the gas version of this to this new EV counterpart and see if anything happens. See if this one's quicker or slower or whatever. I'm curious. All right, Into BeamNG we go. All right, well, here we are in BeamNG. This is just a grid map for our basic testing. So this is our electric car, and you can see that the little blue rings actually came in decently in a weird way. I'm not hearing anything at all out of this car, but looking at it with the matte black and the light bars and stuff, it actually does look a lot more futuristic than the other car. I especially like the back end with the triangle exhaust, although this car doesn't actually have exhaust because it's an EV, so it doesn't matter. I realize that I'm like extremely behind on this whole EV thing in BeamNG. Oh my goodness, hold on a second. The steering, I completely forgot how that's not even going to exist. Okay, don't worry about it. If it doesn't turn, it doesn't turn. So maybe maybe we can only do a drag race test. But yeah, we should have some interesting stuff here. Let's just go for it. It doesn't move. No. Oh my goodness. Obviously the wheels aren't touching the ground, so it's not going to move. Oh my goodness. I completely failed. Let this be a lesson to all of you aspiring to make these cars in BeamNG. You gotta do it the way I said before, where you make the tires themselves invisible and then just swap them with like some kind of offshoots. I'm actually gonna go do that right now because I feel this cannot stand. I'll be right back. I'm gonna have a V2 in a moment. All right, take two. It's important that I acknowledge my mistakes, and I have mended them. As you can see, there are now off-road tires in the place of our previous wheels, and we are now actually hovering. The hover car itself hovers. Nothing else has changed. The wheels are still thicker than they were back when this was just a gas car, but other than that, it's the same. The wheels are just invisible because I made them invisible. Same thing with the brakes, I made those invisible too. And the under chassis components are all painted black to try and sort of blend in a little bit better. Yeah. Let's see how the car drives. Obviously it doesn't rev. Don't think it makes any noise. Oh, it's really slow though. Oh my goodness. Okay, the gearing is definitely problematic, but at least it looks the part now. And it's dead silent, so I think I've done at least something right. Yeah, the gearing is way, 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 way too tall. It doesn't have enough power to sort of get up to the speed that it needs to. However, I bet if we just kind of left it, it would get quite a significant speed going. Yeah, so let's just see how this goes. I'll go really slow, try to navigate around, and we'll talk about what happened. So I'm kind of ashamed to admit this now that you've seen the errors that I've made. I make a lot of mistakes, so just learn from me instead of making fun of me. Oh, please. But I have like 630 hours in automation in BeamNG.drive when you combine them together. And I probably shouldn't be making the kind of mistakes that I do sometimes, but at the same time, I don't know. I just kind of see it as a learning experience. By the way, we're doing 234, 35 kilometers an hour. This thing is ridiculously fast once you get up to speed, but having no torque on the low end, like, there's just nothing there for us, it seems. Oh man, it's so stable though. What the heck? I think any sort of top speed car I make in the future is gonna have to be EV based because at this point, like, I don't really know what else to say. This thing is so dead stable at 200 and something. I have not seen a car this stable before. You'll probably notice that BeamNG added blur, which is also the shadow underneath it is totally breaking. But yeah, the game has motion blur now, so things look even crazier when you're off on an angle. I think we might have capped it out at 280 kilometers an hour. That is fast, to say the least. Oh yeah, I believe that these do have regenerative braking. I put that in the biggest of quotes. Although I don't know if it actually recharges the battery or not. It is slowing down a lot more rapidly than a gas vehicle would. And it doesn't quite accelerate as fast as I'd like. Anyways, let's see what we can do with the gearing in BeamNG's own tuning settings. It's actually my first time making an EV in this game ever, and I kind of feel like that has guided me probably for the worst here. Things are interesting, to say the least here. There's definitely some changes. However, it doesn't seem like there's any gearing at all. Yeah, normally you'd have the option to change gearing, but Obviously, in this case, I don't. The best thing to do would probably be to lower the top speed drastically because gears don't matter. Obviously, it has no gears. So if I lowered the top speed, it's probably something like 280 right now, down to like 150, maybe even 200. We'd get a lot more. Oh, there's the regenerative braking right there. Let's turn that down to like 8%, 11%, roughly 10% to see if that makes any difference. Oh, a battery level too. No way. 45 kilowatt hours. Huh. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can mess with in here, but not quite as much as I was hoping. Yeah, so with the regenerative braking turned down, I mean, that's not going to make any difference to our acceleration, but I don't know. EV cars in BeamNG, maybe I should be making more stuff like this. I never really intended for this video to turn into like a big discussion on EVs or anything like that, but I figure we may as well bring it up in the comments, light some fires under people. Everybody gets all angry about certain topics, but I don't know. I like the discussion about EVs. To be honest, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think that things are going a little too fast, like in terms of mandates and stuff. I don't believe that we'll actually be ready for all EVs in like 2035 or whatever people are proposing. Like, I'm kind of worried about existing infrastructure and the fact that it takes decades for stuff to even catch up to the levels we need. And to be honest, I think hybrids and plug-in hybrids are probably the best bet right now. Buying an EV right now is a big gamble. I don't think I would pull that kind of trigger, especially not with that kind of cash. They're very expensive. But yeah, if for my money, plug-in hybrids, that's what I'd go for. And I'm curious to hear what your opinion is on that. I'm open to hearing what other people think. Obviously, this is not a echo chamber by any means. That's one of the reasons why I got off Twitter, is because it's literally just like the same thoughts over and over again. There's not even an original thought on that website. Okay, enough negativity. EVs are cool. I still prefer gas. I don't know, man. The sound of a gas engine, the smell of a gas engine, it's something that's going to be hard to describe to my grandchildren in the future. Who knows, maybe I'll keep an illegal Briggs & Stratton out in the back for them, just to start it up every once in a while. $100 worth of gas every start, you know what I mean? Just to let them know what it sounds like and what it feels like to have coal-burning dinosaur fumes going up your nose. And with that, oh my goodness, the torque is a little lackluster. Oh man, okay. I'm gonna have to make a proper EV next week. We're going full on EV, and it's not gonna be a Boral hovercraft EV. It's gonna be some like combination of something else. However, I will say that I'm extremely pleased with the way that this thing hovers, and I hope that you find it interesting as well. Bit of a shorter video for you guys this week. I honestly have no time. I'm like super busy, so apologies in advance. But next week we got some more stuff coming up. We got some big news and things going on. There's always stuff to think about, and we'll see you then. Obviously, I gotta crash it into something extremely hard first, so just pardon me while I hit this pole. Well, because it's an EV, it just keeps going, right? Yeah. No engine to fail, so what's the worry? Big thanks to those who have chosen to support this channel. I just want to say that I appreciate you all a lot. I literally say that every week. But I can't let it dull my senses here. I mean, it blows my mind sometimes that people are willing to pay or to give basically monthly to support me. And that's something that I really need to kind of think about a little bit more. Like, I don't know, man. You guys are sacrificing. I appreciate it. So thank you to Overlord, Terrio1, Sinlab, J Pope, Davis Heister, Baja Blast, Goofy Plays, Phoenix Shark, Badger, Mancini Country, Shadow Jasper, and I Look Vol High Milk. Thank you everybody for your support. I appreciate it a lot. I'm trying to do the best that I can do on these videos. And honestly, sometimes, like at the end of this one as I'm recording, I'm like, man, I just want to go to sleep. But I gotta keep working. I gotta keep making some stuff. And I gotta push past that and really just do the best that I can do. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. See you again soon.